What is up, guys? Your boy Ren here today with another fantastic video, and today I'm gonna talk about my top 5 cards of this year of 2019, right? So not a season, but a whole year, right? Since the year is almost, I think it's like 30th, I don't know, because I'm recording it way earlier, because right now I'm in London, but when I'm gonna come back, we're gonna talk about it on stream as well, if you agree or disagree, and you can always comment that down below. So this year was, as I said many times, not as exciting as it could have been. There was a huge dominance of tag teams, right? And definitely a huge dominance of fire types. So not really many different types of decks were introduced, right? We got fire versus light, fire versus electric type. Later, right, we got, Mew 3, we received, ADP like just recently. But it did not change the landscape that much. So my pick number 5, right? So number 5, we're gonna kick off the list with the card that I believe started it all this year. The card that dominated majority of the year, even though, later you got those Reshizads, and, it deserves an honorable mention, or dishonorable, because I hate that card, and, a few others. Joking, don't worry. But there was one tag team that started all, that dominated, and that is a Pikarom. Pikarom decks were everywhere, right? The day, like 2 weeks after the set came out, because, first, of course, there was Zapdos Jirachi, but then Pikarom. Pikarom was the nightmare at internationals in Berlin for me. There was just so many of it, and even when Reshizard came out as Unified Minds, we still had Pikaroms. Honestly, up until Cosmic Eclipse, Pikarom was still present, and that is through 3 sets, which is quite incredible, quite intense. And when we all saw him, we're like, okay, 240 HP, that's like, whoa, super high, right? Super high level of HP. Attacks are really good, it got Zera Aura, it got not Lost Thunder, the Stadium from Lost Thunder, that, decreased amount of energy needed for its attacks. It got Tapu Koko Prism. But for the first, like 2 weeks, we were like, oh man, those tag teams they're not that good. The 3 price card, that's a real big of a downside. But then, when you start playing this guy in the proper deck, well, it changed your mind. And I can tell you, after this deck becoming top tier deck, Pokemon TCG was never the same in terms of this year. And this, for me, definitely I have one of the best memories with this deck. Like, that was my deck also for majority of the time. And, downfall of this deck was quite high. Like a few weeks ago, it stopped just being there at the top. And, it was good. It was good for what it was. It introduced tag teams. And, well, it made us change our minds about them. So let's go to number 4. What is a number 4? Well, number 4, if I remember correctly, is a trainer card. A trainer card that definitely helped many players, that became a staple in almost every single deck, and that's why it is going to be number 4. Bam! It is a Pokegear 3.0. That's actually a stuff promo from League Cup, but Pokegear 3.0, such an important card this year. Every single deck played at least 4 copies, and that was at least 4 copies of this card. Great item. You look at your top 7 cards, and you get a supporter. Of course, I could have actually get a I know reset stamp here, but reset stamp I don't think deserves that spot. I think Pokegear is more important. It plays a bigger role, and since it came out, it just played, and it's gonna play, like it's still gonna play until it's gonna rotate out, because it's such a great card. It gets those supporters. It is just magnificent idea of a card, especially in the format where after rotation we didn't have many search, right? Because even when it came out, there was still Tapu Lele, but people started playing it already because it was really good. And then Tapu Lele rotated out, bam, there's no supporter search. What are you gonna do? You get this bad boy, right? Plus, there was a Green's Exploration where kind of disabled, himself when he played Tapu Lele. So Definitely Pokegear deserves this number 4 spot. Fantastic card, great card, changed many decks, helped many decks to get some momentum, to get some speed, in a good and a bad way, right? Because we know fire type decks definitely benefited from that, but many other decks as well, just getting that supported turn 1 was crucial for many, and this really, really helped, especially if you had like, 2 in your hand, and first one did not hit, well, your second probably would hit what you wanted. So definitely a number 4 card, an amazing card, and I hope you agree on that with me. So another card, place number 3, ladies and gentlemen, place number 3, it's bam, it is Dana GX Unified Minds. No, it is Unbroken Bonds. I'm sorry, like I said, Unified Minds for some other card as well, I believe, for Reshazard. Unbroken Bonds, the Dana. What can I say? A staple, right? A staple in many decks. You play it, you discard your hand, you draw 6 cards. It was huge. It is still huge, especially for decks like Reshiram, for Mew3, for Pikarom, right? All those top tier decks played the Dana, 2-3 copies right now. Of course, later it became a weak point to a certain degree, because it's easy to knock out to get those 2 prize cards. When you're playing 3 prizers, it's not really a big deal, and definitely being able to search for what you need as early as possible thanks to that card was huge, right? You played the Dana, you just got rid of your hand, or you played everything from your hand, you played the Dana, and you could have still played a supporter after that. It was huge card, with the Cherish Ball turn 1. Amazing card, and it's still gonna be amazing as next year progresses, and what can I say? Definitely, the price speaks for itself, right? Right now it's around 35 euros, which is like $40, around that, because again, like, both markets are a little bit different, and it was just a necessity, and it was one of those cards that helped Reshazard become Reshazard, that helped Mew3 become that Mew3, right? Due to that amazing discard. Of course, people said, oh, you can discard with Zip Striker. Yes, you can. We have to evolve into that. The Dana is just amazing, and we all knew it since we saw the preview of that card, and then you know it, right? It is here. It is a staple. It is a fantastic card, and I think it should sit really nicely at the place number 3 in our amazing list. So let's go to number 2, and I think number 2 is my most controversial pick on that list, but you might love it, you might hate it, because there's a love-hate relationship, with that card that we all have. But either you love it, either you hate it. You can't deny that this is, well, broken card, definitely. But this was the supporter of the year, easily the supporter of the year. It enabled, so many decks that so many decks just were running it, and you know what I mean, what I think of, and it's a welder. So many decks just use him as an engine, super fast. He enabled you actually attaching 3 energies per turn, of course 2 from him, 1 from hand, and still drawing 3 cards, help you get out of those sticky situations where you didn't know really what you want, or you had really bad hand, only welder and energy, which is not bad anymore, right? Definitely made Reshazard what it is, right? A top tier deck. This year, again, it was whoever gets welder first. Since welder came out, since I played it for the first time, I knew there was a problem with welder, and I knew this is going to be the main engine, because there was no more DCE, and there's still a lot of decks that were using double colorless attacks. So what you have double colorless, you go with fire type engine, you've got like 1 grass type and 3 fire. You go with welder, whenever you saw a card that has colorless attack, 99.9% of the time it played welder and fire type just as an engine, just to make it even faster than it was. And even now, Mega Lupani, plays with that. And I do think when Sword and Shield is going to come out, even the new rule that you can't play supporter during your turn 1 will not stop this powerhouse. Mew3 benefited from him quite well. Baby Blazevillon, wheezing spread, right? So many decks, and honestly, that was the card that just changed it all. Because we went from, not being as fast. Of course, Picrom was fast, but you couldn't, hit like 300. Alright, you kind of could, but you had to, have electro powers. But you couldn't, done 300 damage during your turn too. Like you could have, with Macargo and Welder, right? But now you got Reshazad that has 270 HP, so 30 more than Pikarom, and can hit, well, for 4 energy, 230, for 3 energy, 200, or for 6 energy, it can attack for 300. Amazing attack, super hard hitting, but also super fast. So this card alone changed the majority of the meta. Like, this card alone just sped things up. Of course, the right circumstances where, that you had attack teams, all of that stuff, the DNAs, but of Pokegears, right? So everything I said before helped this card become what it become. And, this is the card that is, that made this year super fast and made the format super fast. And it was just like 300 knockout, alright, knockout, one hit KOs, and I don't like it. I preferred slower pace. I mean, I like fast decks, don't get me wrong, but a little bit of a slower pace, not just, you got a Welder? Okay, yeah, he's got a Welder. Yeah, he's got him. There it is. This is not exciting. This is not good for the for the Pokemon, because you've got all those people just playing the same thing, right? And it gets boring, it gets stale, and it there's a problem with it. But love it or hate it, this card was number 2, and is number 2 for me due to the fact what it did, and it was just everywhere in the tier 1. Even I played it, so even this changed me to play Reshazad. Now Kovac plays my Reshazad, so even she plays it, right? So definitely number 2 right here. And number 1, and I think number 1 is, well, it's not a surprise. I mean, I hope it's going to be a little bit, but it's a card that quickly, like as soon as it came out, became a staple, and it's going to be a staple until it's going to rotate out. And I've not seen this year a card that, became a staple that fast. Even the Welder, it took, Welder like few days to become that staple. This card just became instantly. Like before it was, before it was released, we all knew that is a staple, and that is Jirachi. Stella Wish Jirachi. Almost every single deck plays 3 to 4 copies of this card. It's just amazing being able to, use ability to check, to just see your top 5 cards and get a trainer card. It is incredible. And this card changed a lot of things. Enabled, right now, as soon as it came out, you've got a Zapdos Jirachi deck that started winning regionals. And as soon as that happened, I don't think Jirachi left top decks since. That's why it's number 1. Of course, you can say, oh man, like, there are some better cards. No. Jirachi was and is one of the top cards that were released this year for me, and because it changed so many things. It's a staple everywhere. It's just that good of a card. You can say, like, oh yeah, but where's Mew 3? Like, yeah, Mew 3 is good, but it needed all the, the previous cards, right? And like Mew 3 now is like you might say honorable mention, but not really as good as Jirachi is. I just can't imagine right now a deck without Jirachi. I mean, I kind of can because I'm not using them. I'm trying not to use it online, just to make the decks a little bit more affordable for you guys. But IRL, I just can't imagine it, right? You do play 4 copies, especially after the release of Necros and Battle Arena deck. Yeah, I know there's a problem, with getting some of them. I know, but it made it even more accessible, and even more players started to play it, and that's why, this is a fantastic card. Number 1, tier 1, hands down, one of the top cards of the year, and the price of it speaks for itself. It's just the card to play in your deck, and the consistency, right? This helps with that. it gets you out of those rough spots. Imagine you detonate to a hand that there's no supporter, you still have that Jirachi to get you one. It was just insane card. It is insane card, and it will be an insane card until it's gonna rotate out. So guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching this top 5 list of cards of 2019. Let's hope 2020 will bring, well, better cards. We'll slow down the format, and it's gonna be fantastic. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our amazing channel. Goodbye and good night. Have a fantastic 2020. Happy New Year, guys, or Happy Christmas Eve, whatever it is, because I don't know what date it is right now, because, well, I'm recording it a lot earlier. Goodbye and good night. Revan loves you. Take care.